Good morning. It's February the 13th. It's a Monday the 13th. I always thought Monday the 13th should be more unlucky than Friday the 13th, because it is, after all, a Monday. However, Monday the 13th, going to be warm today, above freezing. It's not there yet, but it's comfortable. I don't know exactly what it is, maybe -5 or something like that. Probably a little slippery, so I got to watch out for that. I'm trying to get back onto the more regular pattern of walking, so that means Monday is along the creek. So I will head that way if I can get there without falling down, which is always a problem at this time of the day, or the year, I should say. So we will head up here to the creek as per usual. When I get back, well, publishing stuff, writing stuff. Nothing too exciting or new there. Just the stuff I've been working on, I am still working on. I do have a major author interview I'm doing for the World Shapers on Tuesday. I'm interviewing Brent Weeks, who's a best-selling fantasy author. He has a new book coming out this spring, and this is in support of that, but I've been trying to get him on for a while, so glad we were able to arrange it. Well, I guess that's the other thing. I'm starting a new podcast when I'm gradually working up to it. It'll be a video podcast. That means it will actually live stream to this channel, so you'll get notified whenever it happens. And it'll be also about books and authors, but it'll be focused on new releases as opposed to the creative process, which is what the World Shapers is all about, the creative process. But this one will be about new books specifically, and somewhat in conjunction with my publicist, Mickey Mickelson at Creative Edge Publicity. So I'll be doing some interviews with some of his authors, but I'll probably do some others as well. I don't know how often it'll go. I'm thinking once a week, but we'll see. World Shapers is only once every 2 weeks. And it's audio only. This one will be video. It's possible that I might... the World Shapers will have its 5th anniversary this August, and it's possible I might decide that's enough and switch over to this other one. It'll be my main thing. But I don't know that. Maybe I'll keep them both. I've got so much free time. Why shouldn't I just do as many podcasts as I feel like? That is my constant concern, is time. And as you get older, it goes faster and you seem to have less of it. Well, you do have less of it in the big picture, but... However, what else am I going to do? It's what I do. I create things, so I will keep creating things. And hopefully keep walking. There's music happening too. Last night I had the usual Sunday night rehearsal with Wascana Voices, which is the self-directed vocal ensemble I sing with. Very high-end vocal ensemble. We have a concert coming up in April. And on Wednesday nights, we started rehearsing for lyric singers. Very different experience. Wascana Voices, we get a complex piece of music and we sight read it with no piano helping out, and generally manage to get through it pretty easily. Not easily, some of them, but at least we get through them usually. And in lyric singers, because we have a lot of people can't read music in any fashion, it's a lot of rote learning with the parts picked out on the piano and everybody sings along, that sort of thing. On the other hand, the lyric singers' music has to be memorized, so that makes it a little tougher. Anyway, the Lyric Singers is doing a concert that's all 70s music. So when I was there on Wednesday night for the first time, we were rehearsing an ABBA medley, of all things. Take a chance on me, take a chance, take a chance. That's what the basses do in that part. I sang it before. Bingo, bicyclist. And I auditioned for solo, so I don't know what I'm going to get. I'll probably get something, but I don't know what. I auditioned for the Piano Man, but that's just I had to pick one of the songs. There's also Horse with No Name would be fine, and there's even the opening to Staying Alive, which I can falsetto, but I sincerely hope she gives me something more than that. She being Jane Urson, she's our director. There's the footbridge. The idea of the new podcast is it would live stream. I might record it and then live stream it, as opposed to making it really live. A lot easier to organize if it's not really live, but I haven't decided yet. But it will then simultaneously go to LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I'd like to do it to Instagram, but you have to do it on mobile to do that, and I'd rather use my desktop computer for other reasons. You could do it, of course, with the phone. It's not like the quality would be any less. In fact, it might be higher. Visually. Well, not if I use my external camera. Anyway, something I'm working on. Here's the creek. Looking east. You can see it's been a long time since we had any fresh snow, so all the snow is looking very tired. I think we're supposed to possibly get some tomorrow. After being plus 3 or 4 today, it's supposed to be below freezing tomorrow. Then it goes up around freezing again in a few days, but then it's much colder for the rest of the month, it looks like. Real winter again for a little bit. So it's not spring yet, even though we've had a little bit of melting. At least the roads are fairly clear at the moment. This is all beaten down, as you can see. It's kind of partly cloudy right now. There's blue sky up there, so we will see some sun, and that'll certainly warm it up. What's going on over there? There's a truck, and I hear sounds, but I don't know what they're doing. Something with water, related to water, I think, because it says hydro on the side of it. Which, of course, if this was Ontario, that might be power, but we don't call our power hydro. Here you can see water has come through the culvert there onto the ice. Further up, there's another dark streak, which is the same thing. I need to try to get one of our cars into the shop this week, which may determine one of my walks. It's been giving us fits all winter, and it's a new battery, and yet it still died. It seems like it might be an alternator issue now. I thought it had a new alternator just a year or two ago, so it's costing us money, that's for sure. It's quite new. Well, it's an old car, but it's only got, I don't know if it's gone over 80,000 kilometers yet, but it is a 21-year-old car. Volvo. Could go down there. It's probably beaten down enough you could risk it, but I didn't. So I'll stay on the path. This will be just a regular, what I think of as my regular walk on Mondays. Used to be my jogging path during my brief experiment with jogging. Actually, there's there's been cross-country skiers down there. Jogging was too hard on my knees. I have good knees, and one reason is that I've never jogged, so too late in life to take it up, and I'd rather have good knees. Anyway, walking appeals to me, and I can live stream as I walk. If I was jogging, I'd be out of breath. It's too much to talk pretty quick. I do have a stress test March 1st, kind of just a checkup thing. Considering I do this without any difficulty, I don't expect the stress test to show any issues, but I do have a family history that makes it, I've kept close watch on my heart for years. Plus a history of arrhythmias. Nobody on the baseball field yet. I have a new doctor now. I met him last week. Nice guy. My doctor, Dr. McMillan, has been my doctor since I moved here in 1988. He's finally retiring. He's a few years older than I am. He's in his 70s, so probably 10 years older than I am. Kind of expected him to retire before now, but I was glad to be able to quickly get a new GP with the help of a friend. Dr. Nair is my new doctor. Only met him once, but I liked him. It was just a, hi, I'm your new patient. Didn't have anything specific to talk about. Probably my physical coming up in the summer. Hopefully it'll be the next time I have to see him. Nothing comes up before then. Jet going overhead up there. You can see the contrail. Certainly warm enough in my light jacket, so it's not too cold. So far, nobody has said hello this morning. If you're there, say hi. Health and Stone. Good place to cross because there is a light. Oh, and ice. It's all ice. It's the riskiest part of these walks. That and the occasional car that runs through a stop or crosswalk. Creek is over there, of course. Just have to decide when I get down to the bridge if I'm going to come back my usual way or come back over here on the left-hand side, which is another option. I just might do that today just to be different. I could go across Pasco and get a look at that little piece of the of the creek. I got Piano Man running through my head because of mentioning it. Play me a song, you're the piano man. Play me a song tonight. 'Cause we're all in the mood for a melody. You've got me feeling alright. Not the first Billy Joel song I remember hearing. That would have been Don't Go Changin'. It was the first time I heard a Billy Joel song. To try to please me. You never let me down before. I was in university at the time. Now that one stuck in my head. Billy Joel's songs are catchy, no question about it. One of the great songwriters of our day. Not that it's his day anymore. He quit writing songs, 20 years ago at least now? Noodling with classical music, but as far as I know, he hasn't written a pop song in 25 years. He still performs, but he performs his old songs. Just seemed to be done with it. He said everything he wanted to say, I guess. I don't know. Well, he's talked about it a few times, but I'm not that plugged into what he thinks. Okay, another bridge. Another look at the creek when we get to the middle. Oh, pigeons. Aha, they didn't like me. Yeah, I'm still here. Okay, there's the creek in the sun. And over on this side, looking west. Pigeons finally got fed up with me and left in time. Oh no, they're in the tree there. Maybe I'll get a pigeon shot for my thumbnail today from that. I have to take my hat off, getting warm enough. Beeping over there. Oh, it's garbage pickup. That's probably what that is. Garbage truck. They only pick it up every second week this time of the year because it's frozen. So you don't have to worry about stink or anything like that. I'd like to start moving mine back in after it's picked up because for some reason where it sits there. It's not really an annoyance, but it is kind of an annoyance. So I'm might move it inside this time, inside the back gate, if I think of it again. Used to do that all the time, but then there was a lot of work being done, and so I got in the habit of leaving it out. But as long as the car's not parked there, it's quite easy to bring it in through our new back gate. Hopefully, we get the extension built back there this year. Had problems with the building permit. The city was being problematic, and our engineering firm seemed to have trouble meeting their requirements for something that's 67 square feet. I mean, it's smaller than a backyard shed, but all these loopholes you have to jump through because bureaucracy strangles everything over time. Every regulation is supposed to make things better, but the ultimate effect of all the regulations is to make things worse. Seems to be a basic rule of government, and probably has been since the Pharaoh's court or earlier. Ancient probably was already a problem. Human nature doesn't change. Humans don't really change, not on the scale of human civilization. A lot of people seem to think you can completely rewrite human nature, and human nature is whatever you decide to pretend it is. Biology is whatever you decide to pretend it is. But that's just a delusion, and eventually reality wins out, always. Reality is the thing that's there even when you don't believe in it. It applies to a lot of things right now, it seems like. And eventually reality gets a vote, and reality wins. So it doesn't matter how bizarre people manage to twist themselves into pretzels to believe things that are unrealistic or have nothing to do with reality. Eventually, reality wins. Maybe I'll go under the bridge, come up on the other side, and then go down the other side of the creek. Let's try that. And then we'll walk down through the neighborhood over there, as opposed to the neighborhood behind me on the other side of the park. How does that sound? Any objections? No? Okay, that's what we're going to do. Silence gives consent. And so far, nobody has said hi this morning, so I can do whatever I want, and nobody will even notice. Just means if you're watching this, you're probably watching the recording. And I get typically, depends on the walk, but probably averages 100 views a walk in the short term, and longer as time goes by, especially for certain walks that really take off. Walking in snowstorms, walking at the university, nighttime walks, and walking in places other than Regina seems to get more views. As of this morning, when I looked, I was at 716 subscribers. Still aiming for that magic 1,000, where I would actually start making tiny amount of money. Tiny. I don't even know if it'd buy a cup of coffee a week, but you have to get 1,000 subscribers before you can monetize your channel. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. And get your friends and your enemies, I don't care. Get everybody you meet, tell them they should subscribe to this great YouTube channel, Walking in Regina. Well, Edward Willett is the channel. Walking in Regina is the playlist. Also, you'll start getting notices of my new podcast once it starts, because it's going to stream to the channel. Now, is it safe to go down here? I don't think water should have come up to any level that's a problem. It doesn't look so icy that I don't want to go down the hill. I don't know what the ice situation will be under the bridge, but we're about to find out. Looks okay. Oop, I spoke too soon. Some ice right there. Ice actually right here along the side. But there we are under the bridge. Tell it's melted a little bit under here too. Now, go up this side, and there should be a path. Not there. But normally there's a path that takes you up to my right here. I'm assuming it's been beaten down by somebody. If it hasn't, then I've just completely changed my... Oh, nope, it's not beaten down. Nobody's been using it. So now I'm kind of stuck. I have to retreat. Find another way through. Now, I fell down here last year. Oh, but it's been well cleared. Okay, we'll go this way. All right. So much for what I thought I'd do. We'll do this instead. There's no good way up to the bridge. We'll walk through the parking lot here. Maybe go through the alley behind Saskatchewan Express. Or at least go down in front of Saskatchewan Express. Maybe we'll do that. Apartment building over there. Louvain is right over there. Another bridge would have taken me under that. But I'm not sure what the situation is for getting out up the dike on the other side. So the truck's actually running. I just noticed. Suspicious, sitting there like that. What's he up to? So I guess we are going back to the north side of the park, but maybe we'll go down the 14th instead of 15th. So I don't walk down it as often. We'll just get to the sidewalk here. Saskatchewan Express is this old school here. It's a performing arts company and a school. They have a touring company. They used to have a winter one. I don't know if that's still happening. And then the summer one is typically sort of teenagers or college students touring around to fairgrounds all over the province performing. I auditioned for it way back when I first got here, but I was already kind of old, and my complete inability to dance did me in the audition. I could sing, but I couldn't dance. I'm a double threat, definitely not a triple threat. I can act and sing, but I can't dance. Don't ask me. There you go, Saskatchewan Express, main entrance. They do full-scale shows sometimes too, and again, why haven't I auditioned for this stuff? I haven't done a full-scale show since, oh dear, was the Addams Family the last one? Done a lot of singing, but years, that's ridiculous. Time to get back into it. Well, I'm still young enough to remember my lines. I am an equity member, which complicates things a bit when working with an amateur company, but icy here. I'm going to switch over to the other side because I think that sidewalk is better. Although there's nasty ice right here. Okay, there we go. And still nobody has said hello on YouTube or Facebook. I don't think you can say hello on Twitter. I don't know. I don't think anybody's tried it. I don't know if I would see that comment or not, but I suspect I wouldn't. Oh. Yeah, sidewalks are hazardous over here as well. Just a sheet of ice. You could skate on portions of it if it was a little bigger. Better off on the road. Not much to choose from, actually. So we'll just shuffle along. And the worst places are when it slopes down a little bit, like at a driveway or end of an alley. Because then you've got a downhill slope that your foot is ready to slide down in that direction. So it slows me down considerably from the speed at which I would make this walk in the summer. But I have avoided falling this winter. As I said that, I was looking at a little picket fence with sharp points sticking up and thinking if you fell right there, you could impale yourself on that. But I didn't. I'm still here. I will try the other side of the street because it gets more sun and therefore may have melted off more as we go up 14th here. Well, hard to decide. It doesn't really look any better, so maybe we'll stay here. Okay, we've turned the corner. Now we're heading home. Well, I'm heading home. You may be at home. I'm going to take off my hat, at least for the moment, until my head gets cold again. I walk along here sometimes, but not all that often. This will take us by the south edge of the school, Connaught School. It's the same as a lot of neighborhoods now, a mixture of older houses and new ones. Some of the new ones don't look that new style. I mean, you can tell they're new, like that one. Then you have the really blocky ones. Definitely stand out compared to the historical ones, which in this neighborhood are not very big typically. They're like this kind of bungalow. I think of as my friends' houses in Weyburn, if they didn't go to Western Christian College. Kids I knew. I always wanted to live in a normal house like that, but we lived in apartments that were made out of, made in the buildings at the airport in Weyburn, North Weyburn, which was a former British Commonwealth Air Training Plan base. So I don't know if our apartments were officers' quarters originally, probably. It's actually a good size. The main apartment. I mean, we lived in three, but one was only for a few days. So I kind of grew up in an upstairs apartment, and then later we moved to a downstairs apartment, which was, I'm sure it was partially due to my mom and her arthritis. She must have struggled with those stairs in that original apartment. I remember being really nervous as they moved the piano downstairs, down those stairs in that first apartment. I don't know how big it was, but it was probably, 1,100 square feet maybe. Not huge, but big enough. It was just, at that time, it was just me. The downstairs room was just me and my parents, and then I moved into town on my own finally, and it was just the two of them. And they lived there until the school moved to Dauphin, Manitoba, and my dad retired. And then they got an apartment in Weyburn where they lived for the rest of their lives. Well, Mom moved into more of a care home in the last few years. But so I never lived, except briefly, in a rented house in Tulia, which was sort of like that, these small bungalows. And there was a little house on the prairie, literally, outside Lubbock when I was even smaller. We lived in Lubbock for 4 years. And there was a bungalow again in Lubbock. So only 3 actual houses in my whole life until I got married. Well, no, actually, that's not quite true. I rented a house then in this, not too far from here. And then I got married, and I've lived in the house we're in now on Angus Crescent ever since. I'm sure that was really uninteresting, but once I started going through it, I couldn't stop. Anyway, nobody's watching anyway, according to this. Somebody has said hello. So now that's a much older generation of small house. Across Princess Street. There's a Princess Street, there's a Queen Street, there's a King Street, there's an Albert Street, there's a Victoria Avenue. A lot of royalty represented in our street names. There's an Edward Street, I'm sure that's named after King Edward. See the school zone up ahead, so we're getting close to Connaught School. A new school, replacing a very old school. The original one was built in 1914, but it was torn down several years ago now, and this new one was built. There's a lot of protest about that, but as I always say, the students would much rather have a brand new school than that old one, old Connaught School. Having said that, we have an old school behind our house that my daughter went to, Davin School, and I'd be really sad if they tore it down. It, however, was in much better shape. It was built 26, I think, and they've done a lot of work on it since, so it still has all the old character, but it's in much better shape than Connaught was. So hopefully it doesn't go anywhere for a while anyway. It also depends on enrollments and things like that, and I don't know that our neighborhood has a huge influx of new kids year by year. Some of the newer schools, like out in Harbor Landing, have a lot of temporary classrooms attached because huge out there, it's a big immigrant population, a lot of younger kids. Has something to do with that, I think. I should walk in Harbor Landing again. I haven't done it all winter, and I didn't do it all last winter. I did it in the summer, but I've never been out there when it's properly wintry, so still have a few weeks before it'll start melting in earnest, but it'd be nice to get some fresh snow before I did that. We might get some tomorrow and the next day, but not much, just a little. But it might freshen things up a bit. Duck. There's Connaught School over there. 13th Avenue on the other side of it, which I've walked along many a time. Ooh, sounds like kids on the playground. That sounds like little kids, though. There's probably a daycare connected to the school. Or that could just be some parent bringing their small children to the playground. Almost back to Elphinstone. I think if I want to cross using the light, I have to go to the other side of the street. I don't think there's a switch on this side. don't cross here very often. Yeah, no, I'll need to be on the other side of the street. So there's another look at Connaught School. We'll cross here and then work our way back to Angus Crescent. I haven't walked through this part of Cathedral for a little while either, so it's a little different anyway. Now there's a house up here that normally has like children's art and sort of an outdoor gallery along the fence, so let's see if they've got anything there. Looks like there's some art here. We'll take a look as we go by. 14th Avenue Gallery. Children's art. I don't know where the art comes from exactly. It says age 10, one of them, so it's elementary. Pictures at an exhibition, one might say. Different ages. I think there's some really little kid stuff and some slightly older kid stuff there. Okay, now we want to go to our right. Carefully crossing the icy street again. I like houses with turrets. I don't know why. They remind me of castles, I guess. It's the fantasy side of me. That's an interesting style house. There's a couple like that. They're a little different because they have these smaller windows and all that blank wall. One of the many free libraries around here. Little free libraries. As I say, I often think I should go out and just stick my books in all of them to get them out of the basement. Not my fiction, but I have some nonfiction books I don't really care to have more than one copy of. I'll go this way. As you can see, 15th doesn't go through. Oop, squirrel. Trying to decide if he's going to run away or not. It's getting a dirty look. What are you doing? Leave me alone. So I had squirrels and pigeons on this walk. Bingo, bingo. The other wildlife I'm most likely to see, although I haven't today, is rabbits and or snowshoe hares. Dogs, but they don't really count as wildlife. Cats are far rarer. They're just more likely to be watching you from somewhere else. It's too bad, because I really like cats, but I don't get to say hello to one very often on my walks. It's a very blue house. Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. This is College Avenue up here. Now We haven't quite connected to one of the crescents yet, have we? No. The littler, older houses. Cute little house. Old apartment building over there. Renovated. I don't know how old it is. Actually, looking at it, it doesn't look all that old. Maybe it's not very old. But it's kind of an unusual design for around here. Might as well go ahead and cross. Oh, this is 15th. Right. That's right. This is 15th. Okay. I miscounted back there on the streets because of that sort of half block. Someone said hello. Who is it? I can't read the name. Shorts? Looks like Shorts. Hi. Now, this is Garnet Street up here, which connects to Leopold. Yeah, I'll get over there sometime. I mean, it's not an area I go to very often because it's out of the way, but more likely to do it after the snow melts, though. I usually go further afield once the weather is nicer. I'm sure if you go back, you could find a walk along Winnipeg. Maybe not very many, but I have done it. But I'll get over there eventually. Let's go on. To this side, and we'll go down to College here along Garnet. Of course, Winnipeg is a long street, so depends on what part of town you're in. Far less likely to walk way up north on Winnipeg, more industrial section. But just down around Winnipeg and Victoria, I've done that. Sort of between College and Victoria. I know I've walked along there at least once or twice. And actually north of Victoria. No, probably not north of Victoria. Nasty ice, really nasty ice there. Very slopey here, so that's another place I have to be extra careful. I guess I have walked, no, it's Broad Street, between Broad and Winnipeg, north of Dudney. I think I've been in that neighborhood. Ooh, nasty puddle there. Oh, almost got me, almost got me. One more block this way, and then it's home down Angus Crescent. To last, that was the closest I've come to slipping, was there on that very last corner. Nearly the last corner. But I'm still here, I'm still upright. I could go down the alley, just to be different. Should we go down the alley? We'll go down the alley. Not that it's all that scenic, garbage and recycling bins, but there's some artwork. Hof Perot, famous local artist, paints back alleys. He's kind of known for it, but he removes the these ugly bins that we have now. If he puts anything in, they're the old style aluminum trash cans. I'll go over to Angus when I hit across the street here. Cross alley. Don't know what the alley has to be cross about, but maybe because it's so icy. I'd be cross if I was this icy. Ooh, and rough. Ironic to twist my ankle instead of falling down when I'm more worried about falling down. Here's the alley, one of them. I'll take this one. My wife's been in that house, but I never have. She just really likes that one. I'm as careful as I can be, but it's a risky time of the year to walk, that's for sure. Even though I have pretty good boots with pretty good traction, but I don't have spikes on. Well, you can get those. Then you end up on bare pavement, and it's like, well, slippery in its own way. Okay, just down to Italic and we'll be done. Sometimes people try to put some ice on here. These sidewalks are always a bit perilous too, because the yards all slope down to the street. So the snow melts and the water runs across the sidewalk, and then it freezes and makes really nasty patches of ice sometimes because they're both extremely smooth and slope downward. Happens in front of our house. I try to get salt out when it's really bad, but right now I think there's enough snow there. It hasn't really gotten as bad as it will be probably later in the spring when there's more melting yet. Later in the spring. In spring, it's still winter, despite it being fairly mild today, by our standards. It's a very pretty pink house. It used to be a brown house. It's prettier as a blue, not pink, blue, prettier as a blue house. But I was in it when it was a brown house. Used to belong to Renee Brad, who's an opera singer of my acquaintance. Ooh. That's nasty. I wonder why that particular spot is so bad. Got more sun, maybe. Almost to the corner, which is where we'll quit. Tomorrow is likely to be downtown. I often go downtown on Tuesdays. And I'd rather like to get in some good writing time. If I go down earlier in the morning, I can sit in one coffee shop and then switch to another coffee shop, and then go have lunch, and then walk home. I do have to interview somebody at 4. On the other hand, we're going out to eat tomorrow night for Valentine's Day, so maybe I shouldn't be adding that extra lunch calorie thing there, since I gained some weight on my trip away, so I'd like to take that off. Okay, we will stop here. Thank you for walking with me, and I'll be back. Bye for now. Don't forget to subscribe.